I actually spoke with the embassy, the Austrian embassy this morning. Today, they said that if I needed to retrieve any documents, I have to visit Tunis. And I made this application prior to the World Cup in Russia for some reason. And there are individuals, they are like this. They are individuals who simply wish to impose their minds. They want to impose their ideology, etc., etc., etc. It has been going on, and it was met by religious fanatics. It was met by individuals who are unprofessional in military skills. They have no military skills, and it goes on. When I say military skills, is that someone, uh, when he shows something, the end goal is destruction rather than improvement. For instance, and then there is someone individuals, if you are like in the Navy or someone is in the Air Force, especially in the Air Force, they should know very well that the intellectual property is something which is which is, it is something which is extremely critical, which is extremely crucial. That someone doesn't bring an intellectual property which is not his own, or to pretend that it is his own. The list is very long. I spoke with the postal services who are in here to say it clearly. The first time I used the postal services in this area, the first time ever, the first time ever, it was in 2018. I had to contact my insurance and I didn't use this one. I used this one because my passport was held up. They didn't wish to give me my passport. I had actually to contact at that time, the second highest individuals in the state, so that people deliver me my passport. So they have thieves that they don't incarcerate. They have killers with guns. They have offenders outside. It's like a complete. It's like the officer is someone. The police officer is someone who needs protection, and it's someone who needs protection, and therefore they assigned him to be a police officer. And in 2018, it was worse. People stealing my money or stealing people money, saying that you don't deserve them because a Republican or Mr. Trump is president. Therefore, you don't we have to manage your money for you. And when I go to the ATM, I use a bank card, which is a foreign bank card. And when I used it the first time, I had to request it from the central bank, central authority, meaning like the headquarters of the bank. The headquarters of the bank in order to resolve the matter actually. And now I give you an example. Someone was like chasing a kid with a knife during the last week of the year. He's outside, and the second time he had a gun, and later on, he's just circulating around. And as I said previously, the military staff who are in here, unfortunately, uh, as I could say it like truthfully, I'm not lying, I'm being extremely honest, that they are like the observer state. They are like Palestinians at the UN General Assembly, and they are like the observer states. The green uniform are like the Napolitan mafia, and they do work. And well, in this situation, it's like Tom Hanks in Castaway. It's like, oh my God, there's a ship over there, and well, we have to, yes, we have to bark with everything that I got and go to the sea, to the shore, and wave until the crew arrives. Yeah, and then I don't know what is the surprise that I will find actually. And it's a movie about people rescuing a man in an isolated island. I mean, it happens in movies, therefore, it could also happen in real life. Be sure of that it can also happen in real life. And now, as the school year started, new problems have emerged. It's like someone think that, well, there is some kind of psychology in the justice system, and there is the judiciary as a psychologist. When you go to the psychologist, he say, "Wait, I will call this or that person against you." And a normal individuals, and they're like a bunch of idiots who committed who committed multiple criminal offenses, and they are simply outside. And they keep on stealing money. It's like you have individuals who, well, they don't work, they steal money. Sometimes they do money laundering. They don't commit theft, they commit money laundering. It's another category of an offense of taking of property, or taking of property. And people, you may not have realized this, but I'm really using my, it's like 98% of my capacities and of my abilities. And it's astonishing that the level of individuals that we are facing. And I keep on remember this is the situation is that, well, I have to be thankful about an isolated event that happens in a semi-military institution of Sweden. And I have to think that, well, at that period of time, in December 2016, there was a transition. It was like a completely chaotic situation. Um, you are still in here, and it's like okay, it's like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or other individuals. Okay, we have the documents. We will not give them to you. And in the past, I went and I verified with justice ministries and courts about the entire handling of the situation. It just keeps on not getting better, but it keeps on getting worse. It's like, and then you have to understand the positions that people take in order to go to war. It's like George W. Bush said that there is like a real threat of weapons of mass destruction being in Iraq, and that Afghanistan were the individuals responsible behind or harboring the attackers against the United States, and they took actions. Similarly, in with Assad, this guy actually has successfully managed what European couldn't do. This guy, Assad, has been successful in containing a population which is completely different from the outside world, actually. And when they moved to Europe, we don't know who exactly moved to Europe, but when those individuals moved to Europe, the European Commission or the European institutions were sadly unable to cope with anything. Perhaps Canada, but in this location, I don't know what's going on in Canada. I just know that the country is like 50-50. One side is red, the other side is blue. For some reason, they gave this meaning like. And there was like the obstruction of justice. There has been like this guy who is in here. He's a police officer with a lot of other individuals. Well, when I was in 2017 and 2018, well, it was like the movie Public Enemies, and the guy who plays Pirate of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp. Yes, Johnny Depp. They are like public enemies. Those of 2017 and 2018, they were like public enemies wearing like police uniform. And to this day, there's come like individuals, and when something arrive in my name or something like that, they steal it. And sometimes they say it's because of the Russian, as I have it in one of my recording. It's like because of Russian living in here, therefore they have to. It's like they are feeding an oligarch living in the city in here. And I'm an individual from this country with projects, and the financing also arrived, and they misused it. As now, there are like several trials in the Supreme Court of this country. There are like several trials at the Supreme Court about theft, about like large sums of money which were forwarded to the wrong institutions. And we keep each and every day. And who is responsible for this? Well, the supervisor is like better late than never. This is the wording. Better, best. It was better to do something late than never. It could have. He could have like April 2018 forwarded the thesis because it was completed in March 2018. But no, he dragged the situation until August 2018. And in August 2018, he decided to send something. And when I am here and I speak with individuals, well, they are getting some sort of mental pressure about the entire situation, that yes, we are successfully attacking all of those head of states and military institutions electronically, uh, politically, bureaucratically. They are doing this, and they're in complete agreement with them, and those individuals actually try to build not a contract but build some type of an economic relationship or a trade relationship with this country. and they are doing this to them: electronic attacks, childish behavior, pregnancy, pregnancy, forced marriage, coerced marriages. And they say, okay, so you decided to. This is what happened. So the humanitarian people who came went to the military officers, and the military officers who came went to the let's call them, let's say quickly, let's call them, they went to the unemployed youth, and the military personnel got the diplomats. There's like humanitarian, military, and diplomats. And if there was any royalty, they went to, wait for it, to the deranged individuals. I had to, I don't, and since the start, and I'm still focusing on energy engineering and environmental engineering to this day. I'm still focused on that, and this is subject to debate and subject to debate and discussion within the institutional buildings of this country. And when I wrote to the president, when I called the presidency last time, they say, we don't want to hear about this. We are dealing with Corona. This is what he said. When I visited the Ministry of Foreign Affairs the last time, he said, after the Minister of Foreign Affairs went to Russia and speak with that Minister of Foreign Affairs, and apparently when I spoke with him, he's someone like that. I went to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in January 2020, February 2020, and January 2021. In these three instances, well, it's just a blank situation. They forwarded nothing. When I arrived here, they find some type of a busy situation to get into, rather than building relationships. And I spoke with them. Sometimes I say, well, I have all of these relations uh, and partners, and they want to work on this, on this, on this, on that. And the first thing that you expect, well, they cannot deal with uh, simple paperwork, meaning like they need to do like some type of like an insurance work, and they are completely incapable of doing that. And those who are incapable of doing that is someone there, someone who are in that region of the country. And apparently there's also those races who are Europeans who are in this country, and they pay people to prevent me from accessing my or from reaching my family actually.